Okay, we got a 2001 Mercedes ML320, and today I'm going to be changing the fuel filter on the car. So before I get started, just want to show one of the reasons why I believe that the car is hard to start. And what I'm having problems starting the car. The car generally won't start on the first start, but rather on second start, and mainly because of the fuel filter. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pressure gauge on here, and just to verify what's going on with the pressure. Okay, I got my pressure gauge here. Just a little pressure gauge that I bought right here from Harbor Freight for about $19. But it's good to check the pressure on what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hook the pressure gauge to this little fitting right here, and this is where you check the pressure. Now, I'm not a mechanic. I can't tell you the name of all these different deals, but I know it goes right there to check the pressure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the car and check the pressure on it. Okay, the car started the first time because we just got through starting the car just a few minutes ago. So, but as you can see, that pressure is bouncing back and forth. Okay, now that pressure is supposed to be anywhere, I believe, from 30 to 50, but we can see right there it's at 80. So this lets me know that there's a problem, number one, with the fuel filter, and also with the fuel regulator. So the fuel regulator is built into the fuel filter. Okay, you can turn it off. And it should be maintaining pressure. So we can see that the pressure is going back down to 0. Now that pressure should be maintained probably somewhere around 30 psi, but it was going down to 0. We don't have anything that's any fuel that's making it where it would start. So that's why it's not starting the first time. What happens is the diaphragm on the regulator goes out, and it's nothing to keep the pressure constant. Okay, also, as I'm taking off this fuel pressure gauge right here, it should have pressure on it and be shooting fuel out. As you can see, there's no pressure on it and fuel is not coming out of it. Okay, so what we'll do is later, after we get the new filter / regulator on, we'll take another pressure from it, and also we will see if we have fuel pressure where it's pushing out, just to show you what it should look like if and when it's working. Okay, now the fuel filter is located on the left driver's side, and it's behind the tire, so you have to take off the left tire to access it. Okay, I've taken off the left tire, and also there's a cover that goes in there, and there are a few screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that holds it in place. Now that we have it off, we'll look down here and look right in there, and there's where our problem is. Okay, now this is one of the newer fuel filters. Okay, now this fuel filter also, as I said, has the fuel regulator built inside of it. Okay, and just looking at it right there, appears just to have a flathead screwdriver to be able to take it out. So what we're going to do is get a flathead screwdriver and see if we can get it off. simply, I just unscrewed, took off the clamp here, and just basically pulled it out. Now there's 3 lines on it. Actually, there's 4 lines. This right here is a vent line, okay? And this where I had my initial problem. I had a code, I believe it was 442, and it showed that I had, it said a small evac leak. So I Googled it, and it said most likely it was my fuel cap. So I took the fuel cap off, put it back on tight, reset the code, and a few miles later I got the code again. Well, needless to say, it wasn't the fuel cap. So at taking this off, I cracked this line, and this is a vent line right here, and it's the vent line to the fuel filter. So if you get a code 442, most likely it's going to be this line right here. If it's not your fuel cap, it's this line. And what happened was that code stayed long enough. What happens, from what I understand, is the diaphragm goes in here and it messes up the diaphragm. So as you saw earlier, we didn't have any regulated pressure, and the pressure goes down to 0. Well, the pressure goes down to 0 because the diaphragm is messed up on the regulator. And this is where the problem, this is where it stems from. And I just want to show you also how to take these lines off. So these are the newer lines. So the newer lines, you just push the button in and pull off. So he just snapped just like that. So again, we just find it, we push it in, push the little button there in, and pull the line off. So that right here is my old filter, and this is my new filter that I ordered off of eBay. Now, I just want to show this filter. Basically, it's the same one. So if you never replace, this is a 2001, if you never have replaced your fuel filter, then you might have the old fuel filter. So the new fuel filter, as you can see, is longer, and this was a new fuel filter what I had, but like I said, that 442 code made this mess up. Okay, so I ordered a new one. Now the difference between the old one and the new one also are the fuel lines. So if you have the old fuel filter, then you're going to not only need the fuel filter, you're going to need these newer lines, which are longer, so they'll work. But your old filter lines are short and they're too small, so they won't work. So if you're getting a new fuel filter, if it hasn't been replaced, you look up there and see that you have a small fuel filter, then you're going to need to order the fuel filter along with the fuel lines. Now, if you have a new fuel filter and one of the newer ones, and you'll know it's new because it's long, the old ones I believe are short like this, so you'll have the long one, then all you need is the fuel filter, and these run about $75 on eBay. Actually, I take that back. I paid $45 plus $6. So for $51, I have a fuel filter. And remember, the fuel filter also has the regulator built inside of it. Hey, we just finished putting the fuel filter on, and all we did was just put it in reverse, put the lines back on, and tighten it back into place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go start the car and see if it's going to start. Hopefully it should start right up. Okay. Ready? Alright, starts right up. And we look on here and see now we got the fuel look like it's regulated. Now it's holding about 56 psi. Now when we turn the vehicle off, if the filter regulator is working, it'll hold the pressure. The vehicle's off and we see that it's still holding pressure. So I can say that the fuel filter / regulator was a fix for us.